Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. In the previous segment, we were talking about running back by committee, the new strategy that the Dallas Cowboys are implementing for this season. We are moving on now to still football, but a different topic for football. So let me just get this set up. Give me 1 second. Colin Cowherd recently suggested that USC should end its rivalry game with Notre Dame. The rivalry between the University of Southern California and Notre Dame is one of the most celebrated in college football history, dating back to 1926. This annual clash has been a staple of the college football calendar, pitting two of the most successful and iconic programs against each other. With countless memorable games, legendary players, and national title implications, the rivalry has transcended sports, becoming a cultural event. Sports commentator Colin Cowherd recently suggested that USC should consider ending this rivalry game with Notre Dame. His proposal is rooted in the changing landscape of college football, particularly with USC's upcoming move to the Big Ten in 2024. Cowherd argues that this realignment and the evolving priorities of college athletics may necessitate a reevaluation of traditional rivalries. With USC set to join the Big Ten, the logistics of maintaining a non-conference rivalry game with Notre Dame could become more complex. Travel demands, scheduling conflicts, and the emphasis on conference play might make it difficult to sustain the annual matchup. Both USC and Notre Dame have experienced fluctuations in their football success. Cowherd posits that ending the rivalry might allow both programs to focus on their respective conference schedules and rebuild their national standings without the added pressure of the annual showdown. College athletics is increasingly driven by financial incentives, including lucrative conference TV deals and playoff berths. Prioritizing conference games could enhance USC's position within the Big Ten, potentially leading to greater financial rewards. While Cowherd's proposal has practical considerations, it also faces significant opposition. The USC-Notre Dame rivalry is steeped in history and tradition. Ending it would not only disappoint countless fans, but also erase a significant part of college football heritage. Rivalries like this are the lifeblood of the sport, providing memorable moments and fostering deep-rooted school pride. The rivalry game is a marquee event that attracts national attention, boosting both schools' visibility and appeal to recruits. Maintaining such high-profile games is crucial for the continued prominence of both programs. Beyond the field, the USC-Notre Dame rivalry is a cultural phenomenon, uniting and dividing families and communities. Its impact extends far beyond the immediate outcomes of the games, enriching the broader tapestry of college football. Cowherd's suggestion comes at a time when college football is undergoing significant changes. Conference realignments, the expansion of the college football playoff, and shifting media landscapes are all influencing the strategic decisions of athletic programs. In this context, traditional rivalries are being re-examined for their viability and relevance in the new era of college sports. The potential end of the USC-Notre Dame rivalry would mark a significant shift in college football's landscape. While practical considerations might support Cowherd's suggestion, the emotional and historical weight of the rivalry presents a formidable counterargument. As USC transitions to the Big Ten, it will be crucial to see how both schools navigate their storied pasts and future aspirations. So Tate, 1926, that is 98 years, almost to that 100-year mark. What do you think about potentially ending this rivalry game?
Your last sentence, it was the historical weight of the game. And I know people are kind of like, man, this game's been around forever. And there's no proposal for this to happen. Okay, so man, I want to make sure we're not saying that this is something that has been planned, but it was just a comment. It was an interesting topic that Colin brought up. And you start talking about the historical weight and history and almost 100 years and how the fans love it and how everything. Guess what? Colin's right. Colin is 100% right. And for everyone that is going to be upset with me saying that, don't care. I remember as a kid, couldn't wait for that Michigan Notre Dame game. I'm a big Michigan Wolverine fan, and I could not wait for that game. That was a tradition. And that game went away. And Michigan survived, and so did Notre Dame. I also remember the good old days when Oklahoma versus Nebraska. It was the two big rivalries for me was Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Jamel Holloway, and all these guys. And it's just like Frazier and all these guys from that rivalry. That was a big rivalry. And then Nebraska went to the Big Ten. And that rivalry was over. And guess what? These schools survived. But it's a different world. If you're following college football, you realize that this world is about this is the world of conference realignment and making what conference is going to get the most players into the college football playoffs and whose conference is the best. And when you're in a conference with now Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Penn State, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Wisconsin, Michigan State. When you start looking at this and you're going down the line and you're just playing your conference schedule and you're USC and you're rolling and you're trying to make it to the college football playoff, and you look around and this week you just lost to Penn State for your first loss, and then you look at your last 3 games of the year and you're like, I got Oregon next, then I got to go to Notre Dame, and then I got to go to Ohio State, and it's just like, that's not good for your health. Yes, I know a lot of people are going to say you shouldn't run away from competition. I disagree. You should play a schedule that's going to put yourself in the best situation to make the college football playoffs. That's the number one goal. That's where all the money is. Making sure that your team is viable and contending so that you get the television eyes, so the television contract stays strong, and that your team makes it to the college football playoffs. Having an extra game against a team that is, in many years, are just as good, if not better than you are, makes it so you're adding a much larger hurdle down the stretch. If you're USC, or even flip it, Notre Dame's running. They've had a couple of losses, but they know they're going to make the playoffs. But now they're getting toward the end of the year, but they got to go to USC. And if they lose to USC, they're not going to make the playoffs. It's bad for Notre Dame. Granted, I know Notre Dame isn't in a conference. They're technically, Notre Dame University is in the ACC, but Notre Dame football is an independent. And with the rules, it comes down to where they're ranked. Going down the stretch, a late season loss could be the difference between making it into the playoffs as an at-large bid, because that's the only way they can get in now with this new process, is as an at-large bid. Getting that extra loss at the end of the year could cost Notre Dame massively. Same with USC. Having a lot of times the Big Ten schedule is sometimes backloaded. Just like I think about Michigan this year, finishing the year with I believe it was Penn State, then rolled into Ohio State, and then going into the Big Ten championship to play Iowa, then going into the playoffs. These games with the conference is even tougher now. Now, you may get on your schedule in a given year Oregon, Washington, USC, and Ohio State on there, or Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington if you're USC, and then you still have to hit Notre Dame. It's not in their best interest. I know it was a hypothetical situation, but when you think about what's best for USC and the viability of USC as far as keeping the rankings up and making the college football playoffs, it is a smart decision to say, if looking at this, I don't want to do this game anymore. Just like Notre Dame and Michigan looked at it and said, no, we don't want to do this game anymore. Same as other schools looking at it and just saying, you know what? It's not in our best interest. We're now in the Big Ten. We're Nebraska. We don't need to play Oklahoma. Well, it's just the way it is. You look around and there's with this whole conference realignment, there's a lot of games that's going away. And there's this whole conference realignment isn't over. And there's going to be other rivalry games that are going to go away. It doesn't mean that it's the death of college football. It's just a realignment of college football. There's going to be new rivalries. That you're going to get the USC Ohio State game on a more regular basis. You're going to get that Michigan USC game on a regular basis. Oregon, Michigan. These are going to be part of that excitement that's going to have. It's just a reset. There's a new order that's going on in college football, and the old order is going away. And if you've grown up and you're an old-time college football guy, it is hard to see these rivalries go. But it's just what's happening in the world of sports.
Well, that's the thing, is that it's going to happen a lot. Change is constant right now in terms of realignment.
Yes, it is.
And it's hard to see something, especially this that's almost 100 years old. People are going to say, but it's always been this way, right? That's what we always say when change happens. And then in 5, 10, 15 years, it's just going to be like, oh, well, yeah, that was something that happened, but it's not going to be in people's consciousness.
I kid you not. The Nebraska-Oklahoma game, you set your calendar for that one. You could not wait to see. As a kid growing up, I had to see that Ohio State-Michigan game and that Oklahoma-Nebraska game. Those were the two rivalries that were, in my eyes, at the top. Also, the Oklahoma-Texas game as well. But that one was so huge to me and for so many people. But when they went to the Big Ten, no one even thinks about that game anymore.
Sure.
At all.
Yeah, it's crazy how the mindset works, especially when it comes to things that are popular in society. So we are going to go ahead and take our final break of this episode. When we come back, we will be talking about yet another dumb criminal and what he did that made him dumb. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we'll be right back.